We try and launch it one new designer a week or every 2 weeks. And so this way we're continually giving a voice. The other thing we've done as well is we have something called a limited, which right now we have actually a Lebanese designer based here in London. And unfortunately, because the page, I don't know how to, like this is like a limited, like she literally, we only have one piece of each one of these dresses. That's all that's left. We had like 13, 14, and it's just gone.
And what kind of, would you describe your customer that uses this website?
Actually, that's the thing that I love the most. It's actually, our primary focus was the Middle East. So we really tried to sort of drive Middle Eastern traffic, and actually 50% of our traffic comes from the UK and the US. And it just sort of, it's anyone from anyone who's sort of interested in something that's a little different. Is one of the things we're trying to do as well is, because we're trying to give the designers a voice, they each get their own interview. And one of the things that we're hoping to do as well is to start multimedia interviews, so really have them much more interacting with the audience by you be able to hear their voice, to see them a little bit more in person, and that makes it all the more, I guess, fun in a sense. Given that no one really knows these people, so it gives them a real voice that they wouldn't have otherwise. I think so, but it was also a little bit of snobism, to be very honest. I used to work in finance in the luxury sector, so I used to analyze how luxury companies were doing, whether they were doing well or not well, and how the stock market would take it. And one of the things this was in 2000, one of the things that we were asking was, why don't you have online presence? And they never, not us, we would never go online. And I mean, the person whose voice I can hear very clearly was Hermes, and Hermes refused to go online. And now they've got a really cool, funky little website where you can build your own Birkin bag. Like, you can go there and choose the colors and the style of the handbag, so they've actually embraced the social media aspect and the sort of interactivity side of it very, very nicely. But one of the things that I think has been very interesting is that almost all luxury goods companies are online. One of the few remaining are people like Balenciaga, who I've even tried to get to advertise on my website and say, we will not go online. So definitely it's quite interesting to see how some of the brands are really trying to maintain an offline presence purely. I believe that the internet is a bit like the world. So you have Oxford Street and you have Bond Street. It's just how you portray your message, and that's why I'm saying I really believe design and usability are the two most important factors to any site. Keep it really simple, but just make sure that you've got a design that reflects what you feel you can reflect, and also make sure that the usability, just don't make me faint. I mean, some sites come up and it just doesn't make it that easy.
Does usability equal simplicity?
To a certain degree, and I'll tell you in what sense. Like when we started, we wanted to make the, okay, I guess oh no, there we go. When we were looking at creating the navigation bar here, we were like, oh, why don't we call it like with an Arabic name? And no, it's simple. Women, you know where you're going. Designers, you know where you're going. You start creating, instead of calling it magazine, calling it the lifestyle experience. No, magazines, you know where you're going. So to a certain degree, usability does have simplicity in it, but it's not about pure like black and white, but it's more about the use of ideas that make things just simpler. Like, you want people to spend time on your site. You don't want people to get frustrated. You don't want people to feel lost or confused. I mean, we went to the Selfridge site. Selfridge has just launched their website about 10 days ago. I don't know if anyone has been on it.
Yeah.
But like my wish list, which is my wish bag or my wish cupboard or whatever, is really difficult to use because it takes a long time to load, and then you sort of can put the clothes on a mannequin, but then some of the clothes don't go on a mannequin. It's not nice. So that experience sort of takes away from, had they just had my wish list, it's a list. But you need to look for creative solutions and simple solutions at the same time. So I don't want to use the word simple but definitely I think that's one of the things we've done, is we used to have our shopping section on the old site was called Global Souk. Okay, Souk, you might know, it's sort of a marketplace, you might not. So you might click on it, but you might not. Well, when I say shop, okay, it's a shop, you know. I mean, we even changed the name of the website because boutique clearly represents the idea of a place where you come to shop. You know, also the other thing we did from a search engine perspective is more people search for words like boutique or shopping than they did for the old name of our website, which was called Dia D1. Yeah, and I also think that it's, don't reinvent the wheel. Like, I think there are people out there who are doing it right, from a usability side of things, that know how, and everyone now knows how to shop online, or let's call it
Western here not shopped online? Doubt it. I had never shopped online. Not one thing. Ever. Not even food. Nothing. Wow. I think you're the first person I've met.
Books.
So you bought something online. So you've had an online experience, right?
Is that because of fear of?
I want to feel,
Sure.
touch,
You enjoy the
try
experience.
on. I love going shopping.
Mm.
But then, would you like going shopping and then just buying it online when you go home, as opposed to queuing and no, you still just love the whole thing?
Experience.
Well, this is what's quite interesting about what we're doing, which is these are products that you wouldn't actually be able to find in your experience in London. So I mean, I'll show you one that is she's a Lebanese designer. Actually, I actually have a very soft spot for her story. She's Lebanese, and when she was doing this girl on the left, when she was in university, she was doing her sociology major on women who had been convicts in Lebanon. Either had been, you know, through drug abuse or, you know, so they were in very bad states. And she went to her professor and said, listen, this is really depressing. I just can't complete my master's. And so her professor said, listen, why don't you try and find something creative, how you can help these women. So she started actually a little workshop for them to start making bags for her. And she's now created one of the largest handbag companies in the Middle East. So, okay, this is she does a lot of like pop art. So it's not very clear, the pictures, but I know this looks a bit like Margaret Thatcher, but it's actually a very famous Egyptian singer, and it's got this sort of pop art feel to it. They're, you know, simple clutches. Pepsi is the drink of choice in the Middle East, so she has this very old school, and you can see these are all done by women who are, this one on the left is all safety pins. Anyways, I can walk through all the products, but you know, she's someone who's got a really interesting story because she created a workshop that hires or works with, you know, former women from prison and helps them, you know, rehabilitate into society where they have sort of money and then we get to carry these really fun bags. So.
For me, that would be an incentive to actually buy one of her bags.
Correct.
Even, you know, just the story behind it.
Correct.
And that's the big benefit online, is that you can, you know, you can go into it, you can read about her profile, you can go into her Facebook page, you can tweet her, you can have immediate interaction, real-time interaction with the designer, which you couldn't have if you just walked into Topshop.
Why should I come to Dia instead of going down to the high street? Well, try and go and get this bag.
When someone goes to buy something on the site, do they get taken to the designer's site, or does
No,
the
it's
whole
through us
thing go
actually.
through?
The whole
Okay.
process is actually, this is where, I mean, what we do actually is, and I'll sort of show this to you on each product. So what we do is actually for each product is, gets a description. So let me just open a product for you. Okay, so this is actually a lovely story as well. It's a Bahraini girl who was depressed. She'd gone through a very bad breakup. She needed to find a way what to do with herself, and she started these herbal products, like health products, using products primarily from the Middle East. So what we do is actually we put for each product a delivery note, so you can find out exactly how it will be delivered. So that, again, coming back to transparency and access to information, because you don't have the ability to touch and feel. You want to know where it's coming from, how long will it take, how will it arrive. So we put all of that here, so you know, because it'll be, you know, delivered directly to you from the designer's atelier. It usually takes, you know, 7 days. So everything is there, but it's only one checkout process. So we've done that so that it makes it much easier for a customer to be able, because one of the things that people really don't like to do as well from a lazy perspective is something called an out-click. So if you're on my website and I then take you to another website, to take to another page to
You keep changing your brand experience,
to pay, you'll be like,